Now, in section 6, Jesus turns his attention away from the general righteousness and the examples that he's given about living our life generally to talking about two specific ways in which we're called to live. Now, I'm lost for words here because I want to distinguish between what Jesus calls acts of mercy or charitable deeds, deeds of righteousness, that some people say, how it's translated in some Bibles, with the rest of life outside of that which is seen to be specifically religious. But I don't like the language. I don't like saying, Jesus is now showing you how to live your spiritual life, and then he's going to show you how to live your physical life, because physical life is spiritual if you lived it before God. I don't like the distinction saying, these are your religious acts of duty, because the whole of your life is to be lived in the same sense of relationship to God. But there are certain acts that we are called on, acts of righteousness, which are specifically orientated consciously towards the spiritual dimension of our lives, such as prayer, fasting, and giving. And it's to these that Jesus now turns his attention. Therefore, I've headed this, though I'm a little bit unsatisfied with my own title here, The Spiritual Life in the Kingdom. So Jesus has begun with attitudes, and then he's spoken about the reaction of the world to those attitudes that we have in our lives as believers, and then our relationship with the world, how we're to relate to the world, and then he's given specific applications to show us what it means to live under the rule of God. And now he's bringing a new section in, where he's talking about how we should live in the world. We're still in the world here. These aren't religious acts that take us out of the world. We're living in the world, but under the eye of God. God is examining your spiritual life. He's examining the whole of your life. But there are three things that Jesus highlights here where God is particularly interested, because they are the religious acts, the things that express our faith in a kind of way that you would expect people who are serving God to express their faith. And so he says, live under the eye of God. We will find constantly the phrase, your heavenly Father sees you. Living under the eye of God. And that's the same way as living under the same thing as living under the rule of God. It means total submission to him and entire dependence upon him. It means he is looking at us at all times, and we're looking to him in dependence upon him. We are maintaining eye contact with our Heavenly Father at all times.